Hi there, I'm Jane. This is my YouTube channel, Little Lips Knitting, where I talk about everything that I've been knitting recently. This video is going to be a bit different because I am just going to talk about all of the summer tops that I have knitted. So it has been very warm recently in the UK and probably across most of Europe. I have been digging through all my drawers and getting out all the summer tops that I've made, and I really wanted to show them to you. I actually tried to film this a couple of months ago because I wanted to do this like at the beginning of summer. So I filmed one in like May, but the footage just didn't work. It was just awful when I came to edit it. So that's why this is now coming to you like mid-July. So as I say, I'm going to show you all of my knitted summer tops. I will go through them chronologically. So starting with the first one that I've knitted, and I'll talk about the pattern itself. I'll talk about the yarn that I used, and I will talk about like the finished object and any changes that I would make to it if I made it again in the future, that kind of thing. So I will start with what I am wearing, and this is the very first summer top that I knitted. This is the Camisole number 4 by My Favourite Things Knitwear. And this is kind of quite a simple like v-neck design. It's got, you know, very fine I-cord straps. It's knitted top down. It's got a 2x2 broken rib pattern. It's knitted on a 3.5mm needle, and the recommended yarn is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. That is what I used for this one. This is the colour Cardamom. It's sort of it's a difficult colour to describe. It's kind of like a brownish grey or a greyish brown. When I got the yarn, I was sort of looking at it thinking, why did I buy this? Like, this is not the kind of colour I would normally go for, but I do find it quite flattering. Maybe not in this lighting. I don't know how well you can see me right now because it looks really dark on my screen, but usually when I come to edit these things, it brightens up a lot. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'll just stand up so you can see the details a bit better. So as you can see, it's got these triangle sort of shapes for the two front pieces. Then you join it all in the round. There's also some smaller triangles on the back. And you do these twice, join it all in the round, knit the body, and then at the end you do these I-cord straps. So you start with a provisional cast on and then you pick up the stitches at the end. I didn't do a provisional cast on. As I say, this was one of my first knitted tops. I maybe made this about 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember. I'd never done a provisional cast on before, and I was just like, it'll be fine. Like, I'll just pick up stitches for the straps instead, which I think works just fine because I think you only have like very few stitches when you do the I-cord. It's maybe only like 4 stitches. So I think it's not very noticeable, and I don't think you really need the provisional cast on. So if you've never done one before, it's fine. At the same time, because it was only like 4 stitches, though, it is a good way to try the provisional cast on because you don't have a huge amount of stitches to do. So I really do like the pure silk. It's not the easiest to knit with. It can be a bit fiddly sometimes. Silk does tend to stretch a bit. I haven't really found this with this one, but it's probably because I just don't really wear it that much. I think if I wore it more often, I'd probably find it stretched more. But one good thing though about doing these straps at the end is that you can just kind of unpick where you joined it together, which I did have to do when I first made this. I had to make the straps shorter and I had to make the body longer. I still think the straps are a bit too long, so maybe they have stretched over time. And as you can see, like at the back when I stood up, I'll show you again. You can kind of see my bra through this as well. So it's not the most bra friendly design, but I think if I made this again, I would maybe just do the same on the back as you do in the front. So make like bigger triangles just so that I feel a little bit more covered up and it's a little bit more bra friendly. I would make this again. I really would like to make this into a dress actually. I've mentioned before, but I've got like a dress quantity of the pure silk in the colour Dusty Artichoke. And I've been looking for like the right pattern, the right dress pattern. And I think this is one that would be quite easy to modify into a dress. And I think that would be really cool. So yeah, that is my camisole number 4. Okay, so my next knitted top that I made. Now this might be one of my favourite ones that I've made, at least in terms of I wear it the most. So this is the Posy tank top by Avec Anna. I'll just stand up so you can see it a little bit better, because it's got some really pretty details around the bottom edge. It's got, again, I don't know how well you can see this. I really hope that it comes through, but it's got some lace details around the bottom edge. And I'll just turn around so you can see it at the back and around again. And it's also got, I'll move my hair out of the way, it's got some like tie straps. So yarn first. The recommended yarn for this pattern, I think it's been updated since I bought the pattern. When I made the pattern, the recommended yarn was also Knitting for Olive Pure Silk and also on a 3.5mm needle. I instead used the Knitting for Olive Cotton Merino. This is the colour Rust, which I really love. I think it's so flattering. The Cotton Merino, I think it's 70% cotton and 30% merino, so it's got a higher cotton content than merino, but it's so lovely. It's really soft. It is also pretty cool. I find that it just doesn't really pill at all, which is nice. It's got like the softness of merino, but it's got the coolness of cotton, so it really is a perfect blend of the two. I love it, and I would definitely use this yarn again. So the pattern, this one is a bottom up pattern. So you start off casting on stitches for the bottom edge. You knit a few rounds doing like this lacy pattern that I showed you before, and then you just knit and stocking stitch until you get to like the armpits where you split the front and the back. You knit them both separately, and then you kind of eventually start shaping these like triangles on the front and back. What I like about this pattern is that the triangles on the back are wider. So what I was talking about with the camisole number 4, like if I made it again, I would kind of do it a bit more like this, because I just feel like it kind of covers me up a bit more. I don't feel like my bra is too on show, and I think it still looks really nice. Then you knit the straps at the end, so you kind of keep decreasing until you only have like a few stitches left, and then again you knit I-cord straps. I think this pattern also has an option to do like a wider strap, which is really nice. And you can also choose between like attaching the strap to the back or doing like these ties, which just means that you knit one long I-cord on the front, one long I-cord on the back, and then you can just tie it together, which is great because then if the straps do stretch over time, you can just untie them and tie them again. It's so easy. So this is a really ingenious way to get the strap length just right, and it's something that I would even consider like modifying other patterns to have straps like this, because it just makes life a lot easier, and it takes away the stress of like getting the strap length right. I actually knitted this one on the wrong needle size because I didn't properly read the pattern. I thought that you were supposed to use a 3mm needle, but it uses a 3.5mm needle. Needless to say as well, I didn't gauge swatch for this, so my gauge was like way off, but I didn't realize until after I'd made it. I thought, yeah, this has got a lot of negative ease, but I really love it. I love the way that it fits, and actually I would kind of be tempted to go down a needle size in the future for tops like this. It doesn't lose its shape either. As I say, I've worn this one the most out of all of my summer tops. I wear this one in the summer, but also in the winter, because it makes a really nice base layer underneath jumpers. So yeah, it's had a lot of wear, and as I say, it hasn't pilled, it hasn't lost its shape. I love it so much. I have no further comments to make. It is a great pattern. So this is one of the next summer tops that I made, and it's kind of similar to the first one I showed you. It's also my favorite things knitwear pattern, but this is the camisole number 7. I feel like it's sort of an upgraded camisole number 4. I think it's definitely it's designed to be more bra friendly than the camisole number 4. It's got thicker straps. Again, I'll move my hair out of the way so you can actually see the straps. Thicker straps, and it kind of comes up further at the back as well. So I'll stand up and show you it properly. So it's got wider straps at the back, and yeah, thicker straps at the front. Now the recommended yarn for this pattern, it's called Safira by Pasquale. I think it's like a merino and silk blend. I'm sure it's a lovely yarn. I've never tried it before. I've never even seen it in a shop. It's not many places in the UK sell it, but it is quite pricey. I think it comes at around £15 per 50-gram skein, and I would probably need at least 3 to make one of these in that yarn. So that's quite an expensive top. Maybe it's worth it. I'm sure it's a lovely yarn, but I didn't really have the budget for that. And I had some more Knitting for Olive cotton merino in my stash, so I just used that instead because I don't know, it's probably got kind of a similar gauge. I did gauge swatch for this one. The recommended needle size was 3mm, and when I did my swatch, at the time I was convinced that I had like really tight tension, meaning that I was going up needle sizes all the time based on my gauge swatch. So I went up to a 3.5mm needle for this, but now that I made it, I kind of wish that I just stuck to 3mm and just ignored my gauge swatch, because as I say with my Posy tank, I much prefer the fit when it's got a bit of negative ease, whereas this one, I don't know, I think it's just like a little bit too loose. I've already said that I love the cotton merino anyway, so it's a really nice yarn. This color is called like blue elephant or something like that. Dusty blue whale, I think. I'll double check those details and I will put it in the description for you. Some kind of blue animal anyway. Yeah, I used just under 2 skeins for this in a size S, but using a larger needle. I did have to add extra length to this one as well, and I've only just had enough. So I'll talk about the pattern now. It is knitted top down again, and you do a provisional cast on. I did do a provisional cast on this time, and you kind of slowly start increasing for the neckline, and then you start increasing for the straps, for like the underarms. Do the same thing on the other side, join it in the middle, and then I think you knit a few more rounds where you're increasing for the armholes, and then you start knitting the straps on the back, kind of do the same thing for those, and then you join it all in the round, and then you just like knit in the pattern. The pattern is a very simple, like 1x1 broken rib pattern, but there's very like pretty details on it. Once you join the 2 front sections together, you have the option of doing like decorative increases and decreases across the front. So I will just stand up again to show you. But you kind of create this sort of like triangle shape below the bust, which I think is what made this pattern stand out to me so much. I think it's just so pretty. It's such a simple detail, but it works so well. But those are optional. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. Other than that, it's just a simple 1x1 rib pattern. If I made this again, which again I would because I think it's a pretty pattern, I would probably just stick to a 3mm needle. You might have seen some loose ends floating around because I haven't actually worn this one yet, so I haven't woven in the ends. I'm kind of in 2 minds about whether I want to actually just unravel it and knit something different with the yarn. Just because it is just a bit too loose, and I find that like in the underarm, like I've kind of pulled it up to show you so that I'm not like exposing myself too much, but when it kind of droops down a bit with wear, I just feel like a little bit too exposed. So I think that's probably just because I used too big a needle. So I would love to knit this again on the correct needle size. Right, my next knitted top. Now this is the first DK knitted top that I made, and it's the June top by PetiteKnit. So this is a fairly simple pattern. It's just knitted in stocking stitch. The yarn that's recommended is like 2 strands of Knitting for Olive pure silk, or you can use like 1 strand of a DK cotton. You can kind of use any sort of combination of yarns, which is one of the nice things about this pattern actually. When I made it, I just had a look in my stash, and I had 2 skeins of the Knitting for Olive pure silk and in the colour Dusty Artichoke, and I also had 2 skeins of Sandnes Garn Alpakka silk in the colour Sand. I think it was Sand. It was so long ago now, but I'm pretty sure it was called Sand. I'd got both of these for other projects, but just never got around to using them. And I just thought the colours looked really, really nice together. So it's 2 floor plies, 2 4-plies held together. And this is another one, like with the Camisole number 7, I did a gauge swatch for this one on a 4mm needle, which is the recommended needle size. Again, it came out like a little bit small, so I did another one on 4.5mm needle, and I ended up using that. but I do wish I just stuck to a 4mm needle. Just ignore my gauge swatch because it's just very loose, a bit more loose than I'd like it to be. But actually, like, I don't think it's too bad. I think it's just around the straps. I think I'd like it to be a bit more tight, but I don't know if going down a needle size would have actually helped that. It's still pretty lightweight. It's quite airy with the silk content because it's got one strand of silk and then one strand of alpaca silk. So there's quite a lot of silk going on in there. And the alpaca just makes it really soft as well. As I say, I just love how these colours look together. I will stand up again to show you this one properly. So it's got quite a wide scoop neck at the back and a higher scoop neck at the front. For all it's quite a simple pattern, there are like different options on how you can construct this one. There's one option where you can do a Judy's Magic cast on in the middle. So then you can like knit upwards and shape the armholes, shape the neckline, and then kind of graft together the straps at the end. And then you can pick up the live stitches which are left and knit down and then cast off at the bottom. So it's kind of both a top down and bottom up in that sense. And I think the advantage of doing that is you get the benefits of like knitting it bottom up. So being able to kind of do the straps at the end and adjust those if needed, but you can also make sure that the length is just right by knitting it top down and then, you know, adjust the length if needed. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. I did not do that. I just knitted it bottom up, which is the other option. She does give you both options in the pattern. And by that point, I'd already knitted a few summer tops. So I was happy enough to just measure it against the other summer tops that I had knitted and compare the length to those ones. And then you finish it at the end with like I-cords around the neckline, around the shoulders, and it kind of gives a neater edge as well, which is lovely. The only thing I don't really like about this pattern, as I kind of mentioned before, is like the straps. They tend to just sort of like fall off or like they kind of curl underneath. Even with the I-cord edging, they'll still like curl underneath, which I don't really love. But I don't know, it's a small thing. Other than that, I think this is a good pattern. It's a very quick knit, very, very quick knit because it's on a DK weight gauge. I think it's like a 20 stitch gauge. So yeah, if you still want to make a summer top this summer, this is kind of a good one to do. Or any DK top is a good one to do because you can make one in like a week or two. There is like a 4-ply version as well, which I think uses a 2.5mm needle. I haven't made that one. It's called the June Top Light. But it's kind of exactly the same idea. It's just made to a smaller gauge. Okay, the last two that I'm going to show you, well, 2.5, because I've got one unfinished one that I might show at the end as well. There's a big jump between the last finishing my June top and making this one. I think last year I didn't really knit any summer tops, but I made 2 at the beginning of this year. So I have shown both of these already in videos, so I will try not to talk too much about them. I'll just kind of talk briefly about the pattern and the yarn. This one is the Sol top by Rose Knitwear, and this is another DK summer top. It's knitted on, I think this one was also knitted on a 4mm needle. So I went down a needle size, but I made the next size up. And the fit is pretty spot on actually. It's got a little bit of negative ease, but not too much, and it's not too loose either. So it worked out well. I sized down my needle just because I thought that it would work better with this yarn. I think this yarn is a little bit lighter weight than like a usual DK. It's Noro Kakigori. It comes in 200-gram balls and you get like 600 meters per 200 grams. So I used just under 1 to make this. I think it's like a cotton and silk blend. So it's really nice for summer projects. It's got like just beautiful flecks of colors in it. It's kind of, this one is sort of like a pinky lilac, but there's a lot of blue in it. There's green in it. There's teal. There's red. There's white. And like it kind of creates a very subtle like self-striping effect. I will stand up again so you can see it properly. You might notice some loose ends floating about. I also haven't woven in the ends for this one. I've not worn it yet. I should wear it more. I should get it out. Now that I've got it out to show you, it's kind of inspiring me to wear it a bit more. Now the pattern, it's knitted bottom up. You just kind of knit and stocking stitch until you get to the armpits. Then you split the front and the back, shape the front, shape the back, and then you kind of have like folded over stocking stitch. So you start working reverse stocking stitch and then fold this over and then cast off. And the way that you cast off on the right side so that you get like the cast off edge details. It just makes what is otherwise a fairly plain stocking stitch top a little bit more interesting. And you pick up stitches around the armholes for the sleeves, cast on for the shoulders, and then you kind of knitting in the round and stocking stitch, and then again fold it over and cast off with the cast off edge on the right side. You can use 2 strands of 4-ply, or you can just use 1 strand of DK like I did. It's kind of encouraged to use 2 different colours together so that you can get a nice colour marling effect, which is what I did with my June top, and it's a really pretty effect. But it's also a great pattern to show off a yarn like this, where you've got a lot of different colours and a lot of details in the yarn. So it's a nice simple pattern that can really showcase the yarn. So this is the Camisole number 11, and I will stand up again so you can see it better. So it's another DK weight pattern, another very quick knit, and I'll talk about the yarn first. So the recommended yarn is also Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, but this time you hold 2 strands together. The other recommended yarn in the pattern is 1 strand of Luxury Silk by Noro. I have never used this yarn before, but I think it's just a DK silk. I used 1 strand of Linendale DK by King Cole, and this is like a cotton linen viscose blend. It's very similar to yarns like Drop Spell or Sandnes Garn Lean. It's got basically the same fibre content, and this is the colour Damson. So the pattern itself, it's knitted top down. You start off in the round for the neckline, and I used a 4mm needle for the cast on edge, and then I used went up to a 4.5mm needle for like the first round, because it's recommended to cast on tightly. So I got that effect just by going down a needle size. You kind of knit in the round and increase for the shoulders. Then when you get to the end of the shoulder, you split the front and the back, and you start knitting flat until you start increasing again. When you get to about here, increase for the underarms, and then join it all in the round. The front and the back are knitted in the exact same way, so there's no like official front or back to the pattern. And it's like a very simple lace pattern. It's an 8 stitch, I think. Sorry, not 8 stitch. It's an 8 row pattern repeat. So it's a really nice one to do because it's like repetitive enough that you don't really need to check the pattern too much, but also kind of interesting enough that I found that I was really motivated to knit it, because I was kind of like I kind of work in pattern repeats. So I always want to get to the end of the next 8 stitches before like putting it down and doing something different. So because of that, I just work through it really quickly. I do like this pattern a lot. Couple of things about it though, like it is fairly see-through. So when I've worn it out, I've worn it with like a black vest underneath, but then I found that I was a little bit too hot with the vest underneath. The other thing is like the armholes are very deep as well. So this was the other reason I wanted to wear a vest underneath, because otherwise I feel like a little bit exposed at the side. I modified this slightly so that I joined it in the round a few rows sooner than what the pattern recommended, because I sensed that this was going to be an issue, but it's still like a bit too deep. Also, I think the yarn that I used, maybe it does stretch a bit, like cottons can stretch. I don't know so much about linen, like I don't know whether the linen would help that. But yeah, if I made this again, I would kind of make the armholes a little bit higher up. Another thing that I found as well is when I wear it, the back kind of droops down a bit. Kind of turn a little bit so you can maybe see. So this back bit here, when I wear it, I can feel it sort of drooping down and the front comes up. I don't really know if there's much I could do about that. Maybe it's just to do with it being a boat neck without having like shaping around the front. I think that's just something that's going to happen, unfortunately. But I don't think it's too big a deal, really. This was one that I wanted to make into a dress, but once I saw how see-through it was, I really I decided against it. My favorite things knitwear, she has released a few patterns now using this like similar like stitch pattern. So she's got this camisole, there's a blouse number 2 maybe, and recently she's also released a skirt pattern and like a vest pattern, which just looks basically like the same as this, but it's got like a button down front. I mean, I think it's super pretty, and combined with the skirt, I think it looks amazing. I really want to make it, but I just know it's going to be see-through and I'm going to have the same issues that I have with this one. So I don't know. I'm tempted to make it. If I make the skirt, I'll have to wear something underneath, like some, whether it's shorts or whatever, um, just to kind of cover me up a bit more. And then I'm like, that's fine. But again, there's just the whole issue of being too hot in it. And then because because it's already a DK top, it's a little bit thicker anyway. I don't know. We'll see. I do really want to make it though. I think it looks so nice. I feel like it's just going to be one of those things I make and then regret. Okay, so that is all of my finished summer tops. I am, as you can see, now wearing a almost finished summer top. And this one I have shown before in podcasts because it's been like an ongoing work in progress. I started this over 2 years ago now, but it's just kind of been sitting around forever because I just find the stocking stitch on 3mm needles so boring, but I think it looks so nice. And there's so many things that I would love to make using a similar like gauge and yarn. But just after knitting this, I just don't know if I could do it because I know how long this took me and it would just be the same thing again. Every year since, I've been like, okay, this is the year that I'm going to finish my Cumulus tee. I'm going to finish it and I'll be able to wear it in summer and it'll be like the perfect summer top. So it's taken a while, but it's nearly there. I haven't actually worked on it in a couple of months. I made a lot of good progress on it. As you can see, I've cast off one sleeve. I've cast off the body as well. I'll stand up and show you. But this is kind of where the problem is. So I will talk about the yarn just very quickly. Once again, I'm using Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, and this is the shade, I think it's cream. I think it's called cream. I'll double check that for you. But yeah, it's just a really pretty off-white. I think it's the one that is used in the sample on the pattern. And it's a 3mm needle. It's constructed top down and it's also a raglan sleeve construction. So you kind of start off with just stitches on the back and you just kind of slowly start increasing for the sleeves. You start increasing for the V-neck. You join it in the round when you get to here, and then you knit a few more rounds in stocking stitch. I think it's joined in the round before you split the body and sleeves. Anyway, you split the body and sleeves and then it is just endless stocking stitch. Um, and then when you cast off, you do like an I-cord cast off, which is quite fun to do. I enjoyed doing it. But you also kind of decrease stitches as you do the cast off and you go down a needle size. So you go down to a 2.5mm needle and then you kind of decrease stitches every like, I can't remember exactly, 4 or 5 stitches. As I was doing this, I had the feeling that this was going to be too tight. Like I thought the decrease rate was too high. So I think it might have worked better if I'd decreased like maybe every 10 stitches or just done the same decrease rate but not gone down a needle size. I don't know. But I decided to just trust the process, trust PetiteKnit. But yeah, it kind of cinches in a bit too much. The cast off edge is really like quite tight, quite inflexible, and I don't like the effect. So I will have to go back, unravel it, which I'm not really looking forward to because I'm going to have to get all those stitches back on my needles, and there's like, I don't know, 300 stitches that I'll have to get back on my needles. Maybe just do like a different cast off edge. Like, I don't know if it really needs to have the I-cord around the bottom edge. Like, there are other ways to do a cast off edge and stocking stitch that won't roll, and I might just look into doing one of those rather than doing the I-cord, because I think the I-cord at the bottom is just a little bit bulky. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan. You do a really similar thing when you cast off the sleeves as well. You kind of decrease while you're doing the I-cord cast off. The sleeve isn't so bad. I can't remember what I did though. I can't remember if I did fewer decreases or not, which is kind of annoying because I've got to now do the same on the other sleeve. But I think I might just unravel it anyway and do it again. I'm not sure about the sleeve length. I did this sleeve shorter than what the pattern recommended. I think the pattern kind of recommends like an elbow length sleeve, and I wanted to do a shorter sleeve. So what I'll probably do is I'll do this sleeve first, maybe just knit a few rounds and cast off, and then just unravel this one a little bit so that they match, because I think this looks kind of cute as a short sleeve as well. But I don't know. I think with the slightly longer sleeves, it looks maybe a bit more elegant, whereas this side is a bit more casual. I don't know. I'm undecided. But I know that I could probably finish this in a couple of days if I just went and did those jobs. It's just not fun jobs to do. But, now is the time to do it if I actually want to get anywhere out of it this year. So yeah, that is the progress on my Cumulus tee. At least I have made progress though, like the end is in sight. I just need to sort of get the motivation to actually do it. Right, so that is all of my knitted summer tops. I hope you enjoyed this. It was kind of fun to get them all out again and revisit them and sort of think about what I want to do with them, like whether I'm going to unravel them or make it again. I really want to make this knitted dress. That is one that I might cast on soon. I mean, I am not confident that it would be finished this summer, but if I cast it on now, I could maybe get it ready for next summer. Who knows? Let me know in the comments if you're making any summer tops this year. Are you a big knitted summer top person or not so much? Thank you so much for watching. I will see you very soon with another video. Bye bye.